Hi guys, my name is Tyler Rain, and as you can tell by the heading of this video, I'm gonna get real. And I'm gonna tell you, make your own opinions, why I got kicked out of my band. Not gonna name any names, but I'm still not gonna tell you the name of the band. Anyways, so where do I begin? Well, I joined this band around late November, well actually more like early December. And I was with them up until, I think, May. Honestly, time goes by so fast. I was with them till May, so I was only with them for less than a year. Things were going pretty well, you know, small tiffs here and there, but not many. And there was only really problems between me and the drummer. Now, there weren't really that big of an issue up until nearing the end of May, when we had a lot of going on, and we had a really big show coming up, which is still coming up. I'll get to that later. So, going along, we come to the end of May, and this is where everything gets real. Basically, we were going over merchandise, and as I was going over merchandise, I'm usually the one that handled it. I was the one that would find prices, get the best deal, and actually pay for most of the things and order them. Well, we were going over these things, and it came down to ordering stickers for our upcoming show. Well, I wanted to make sure we had a big quantity and also got the best price. So it turned out to be so much for so much. And I was willing to pay for most of it since I felt like that was, you know, kind of a high amount. This being said, I just felt very disappointed when our drummer made a comment in regards to the price and the quantity, which was, do you really think we're going to get rid of that many? Almost putting doubt. And of course, you know, like, I'm already tired and I'm already putting all this work in. I just, you know, didn't want to hear it. And maybe I flipped out or, you know, was overreacting. I want you to make your own opinions on all of this. But of course, you know, I was like, hey, like, you know, if anybody else wants to handle this, go ahead and handle it. Like, it's totally fine with me. You know, I'll pay for most of it if that makes it any less of a worry. It's good to have extras, etc., etc. You know, I don't mind doing this. Like, I'm the only one that does it. If you can just, you know, not be down about any of this, that would be great, because it would make things a lot easier. And so the conversation continued on, and we continued to talk about more merchandising options and all that. And then all of a sudden the drummer says, hey, after you play this show, I think you should look for a new drummer. And of course I wasn't surprised, because the drummer is already in other bands and has already made other commitments that have interfered with our band's practice. So I was like, oh, this isn't a surprise. And, you know, he probably just doesn't want to deal with me, probably has other stuff on his plate, and I totally understand. My other bandmate said he totally got it as well, and then another bandmate said he was surprised, and that's where it was. So we had agreed that we were going to talk about it in a few days on Thursday, and we wouldn't talk about it anymore until then, when we can be in person. So that's what we decided. As time went on, no one really talked about anything, and it was just kind of quiet. Thursday comes around, and I'm in a pretty good mood. I go to not practice, but we go to our meeting, which is at one of our bandmates' house. Everybody's super nice, and we get together, and then all of a sudden it's time to talk. So we began to talk about, maybe the possibilities that we're just misunderstanding each other. You know, mostly just me and the drummer were talking to each other and talking about how, you know, obviously we're having miscommunication issues, and, you know, sometimes I feel like he's being kind of rude and he feels like I'm being a bitch, you know, and that's what it was. So we have our conversation, and I apologize, and I say, hey, I'm sorry if I misunderstood you. You know, I apologize if, like, I say things and you think that I'm just being mean. Like, it's not my intention, because it isn't. And that was it. Well, then our rhythm guitarist looks at everybody but me and says, are you guys, do you guys still feel the same way? And I almost have a funny feeling because I'm like, okay, I kind of get what's happening. I can tell. I actually had a dream about it the day before, but I'm not going to get into that weird stuff. Anyways, so they all look at each other like, yeah, I'm still the same. Yeah. And it comes down to this, and the rhythm guitarist and the bass player tell me, basically, that they would no longer like me to perform and sing in their band. And at the moment, I was like, oh my gosh, boo-hoo, you know, I'm sad and upset, you know, like, what the heck? But I also wasn't surprised, you know. And then there was many other things expressed at that point. But the drummer said his personal issue with me was that, one, obviously we have conflict, we don't get along. There's been a few times where we've had arguments about certain things, just as a band too in general, and those things I will express to you right now. So the first argument, there's only been two things. The first one was in regards to a show we were given. We were not allowed to promote it ourselves, and me being one of the marketing people for the band and running the social media, you know, I felt like maybe we should renegotiate those terms, or we should just promote ourselves anyways, because being early on in the band, it's best to do that. And, you know, I didn't really argue too much. I even posted things on my personal page, and then I was demanded to remove them because they didn't fit the other band's rules. So, you know, I did compromise. The second argument we had was in regards to a song that we had put on a compilation album, and my only condition was, hey, after a certain amount of time, can we please repost this, because we want to have our music on theirs and we also want to have it on ours. And that's what I said, you know. I felt like I had every right to have a say in what happens with our music and our intellectual property, because, you know, that is my voice that's being used, and I didn't think that it was out of place to request those kind of things. You know, being someone that has seen many artists lose their materials because they give them to certain people and there are no contracts, I just don't want to take the risk, even though we are early on and we don't particularly have any fame or any of that yet. And so that led to an argument. And basically all I ever asked for was contracts or proof of the rules in regards to what we're allowed to do when we're making these deals. And the drummer and his friends were always making the decisions, and there was no real written rules to go off of. So, you know, that's what my issue was. He also expressed that his other personal issue he had with me, him and his mother had with me, was that I did not carry his drum set up and down the stairs for him before and after band practices. Which I understand being upset because, you know, it's a lot to carry drums, and I'll help you, but there's a certain extent to which a person is a bandmate and a person is a roadie that's supposed to do those things, you know. And if there was ever the time when he had asked me, I would have helped him, but I wasn't the only one that didn't help. So even my rhythm guitarist had said, hey, I didn't know that bugged you, dude. Like, I'm sorry. And he had told my rhythm guitarist, oh no, it's okay because you have an instrument and Tyler doesn't, so she doesn't put that effort in. But I do put a lot of effort in other aspects, so I just feel like that was kind of forgotten. And that was the drummer's reason for not wanting to be in the band anymore with me, and for wanting to leave, and for wanting to remove me from the band. Now, the rhythm guitarist had expressed that his main reason was because of the conflict, which I understand, which is an issue because it's not good to have conflict. His other issue was that due to the fact that the bass player and I had at some point had some sort of relationship, he felt the concern and fear that the bass player would be attacked by me, which had, honestly, is no issue for me. It had never been an issue before, and it would have never been an issue, but that was a concern that the rhythm guitarist had. Our lead guitarist throughout this entire scenario has not said anything to me at all. And I totally appreciate him for that in that aspect, because he has stayed mutual throughout the entire situation. And really, honestly, I don't think he had any problems, but I understand being in a band of 5, you want to go with the majority, not the minority. And so I see why he chose to be where he was. Now, moving on to the bass player. This is where I personally felt the most upset or hurt. His reason for not particularly wanting me was because no one understands me in the band, and it kind of was a shocker to me, because due to our relationship as friends, we had spent like numerous hours on the phone, explaining things, and him telling me that he completely understands me, but then one set in a group setting, he didn't understand me at all. And that was the issue, one of the issues. The bass player also expressed that we had been being compared to a very popular band, No Doubt. We were being compared to them a lot. And he expressed that even though I am, a huge fan of Gwen Stefani and I idolize her, we are not No Doubt, and we will not be No Doubt. He expressed that they do not want someone who puts their foot down, and they don't want someone who is strong-minded on certain issues in regards to our intellectual property. And honestly, I was just like, okay, I guess, that kind of got to me personally. And another thing that which is funny, I was told weeks before I was removed, was that I would not be able to make it if I was not in this band. And I've just found that to be quite insulting and hurtful, coming from someone who is my bandmate, or was my bandmate now. Because that's not something you say to someone if you're trying to support them. And all I ever did was really try to support my bandmates and do everything I could to make sure that we got to where we needed to be, whether it was promotion, social media, going out of my way to spend, whatever money I had on anything we needed to make sure we got our name out there. And for them to tell me that I'm not a good enough artist to make it on my own was a little disappointing. So that's what happened, and I was removed. We had agreed that we were still going to practice and we were going to continue to do our show later in June, and that was the deal. So here's the aftermath. Our first practice after me being kicked out, I had a performance that night, so I wasn't able to stay as long as usual. I had to leave at 5:30, but we were supposed to start at 1. Practice got moved to 4 o'clock, and this is why. I showed up at practice. It takes me half an hour to get there, half an hour to get home, and I have a performance later on, and it's very important to me, and usually I would put the band first, but this is what I had planned. And I arrive, and it turns out that our practice was moved because the drummer needed to practice and record with one of his other bands, which I was told would not interfere with any of our stuff, especially since we have a show coming up. So I got there, and I was just like, okay, well, I'm just going to take a call. Let me know when we can go in and we can start rehearsing. Around 4:45, we were finally allowed to go in the garage and continue our practice. I had to leave not too long after, which was very disappointing, and we were only able to run through our set once. But that just is a level of disrespect that I feel comes from one bandmate to the whole band that no one acknowledges because of the sheer fact that he has been in there longer, or, I don't know. Those are just, little things that I found to be very unfair. And I'm not trying to say like my ex-band is horrible, or they're awful or anything like that, but I just find it so sad that I was removed because of certain issues, but others were able to stay when they clearly have no respect for the rest of the band. Now, moving on to more of the aftermath. It wasn't until 2 weeks later that I had finally made it a public announcement that I was no longer in the band, and I didn't even name the band. Throughout the year, or throughout my whole music situation the past year, I have been given a lot of criticism from many different aspects. So I made a post that said something along the lines of, despite being told I'm not a true musician, this was a statement given to me by multiple people throughout my choir program, and then I will continue with what I wrote. Despite being told I'm not a true musician and that I would never make it on my own, that was a comment made by one of my bandmates. And the last one was, and even being kicked out of my band, I still find a way to believe in myself, and I know that someday I will make it. Thank you to all those who love and support me. I love you. That's what I said. I did not name names. I did not say why I was removed from the band. That was my post, and it was a video of me singing a song, Don't Stop Believing by Journey. Well, the aftermath of this was, I received messages from one of my bandmates, an array of messages, as you can see here, multiple pages, and this is the kind of tone of which I was spoken to a lot during the months that I was in this band. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm just going to show you a little bit. Are you really lying now? When did we say you weren't a musician or that you'd never make it on your own? Why are you trying to beef for no reason but your own ego? Either way, good on you for taking your lie and beef to a public forum, taking the high road. I'd guilt you, but I know if you have a conscience, you're going to feel guilt for every comment of sympathy for your made-up plight. Though if you had a conscience, you wouldn't be lying to deface your old family anyways. I did not lie about anything, and I did not deface anyone. I told the truth and only the truth. And, it's really hard to see someone who is also the same age as me attack someone so easily and not even ask, what actually, happened or what the actual truth is to things that are posted. And so I expressed to him the truth behind that, which was comments were made by my choir, my fellow bandmate, and yes, you guys did remove me from the band. I didn't think that telling people was wrong, considering it is nothing but the truth and people are going to ask anyways. But I guess I was wrong. So basically I responded and I said, this is what the deal is, just so you know. And I said it was a general post in regards to many aspects of my music, so it's not all about you. You should take a better look and make sure you get your facts straight. And I requested that he do not contact me again because I honestly don't need that kind of negativity, and I need to move on to brighter and better things. So he continued to message me and say all these other things, and then I had no response. But that was from one of my bandmates. That was the drummer, actually, so I had then messaged my rhythm guitarist and my bass player requesting that they speak to the drummer and tell him not to contact me unless, he knows what he's talking about, because I don't need that conflict, and if there really is a problem with me, saying what happened, then I would like an explanation as to why. I was told that posting that I was kicked out was unprofessional, and that I burnt the last bridge I had with that band, and that, I'm sorry, but I can't help you anymore. I was also told that, I was misperceiving the situation, and that if I don't like it, deal with it, don't come to us. I wasn't asking for help. I was informing them that even though they consider me to be very unprofessional, their drummer is a lot more unprofessional, and I just feel like in the future they should watch out, because if this is how he communicates to other people without knowing anything about what he's talking about, then that might be an issue for them. And I was told that, using the words "I got kicked out of my band," it makes me look bad. Which I don't completely understand. So if anyone has an explanation, please explain it to me, because I don't know exactly how that makes me look bad. It's the truth, and I don't understand if I was supposed to lie and say like, oh, I left, it was a mutual parting. I'm not big on lying, so I didn't see anything wrong with that. I said, my response to them was, as for my post, that's my Facebook page. I was Tyler before I joined blank, and I'm still Tyler now, and I'm allowed to share my personal feelings on my personal media. One bandmate said he's always been trying to do is help me, and, all this. And the thing is, I never asked for any of their help. I'm just informing them that their drummer is being very unprofessional. I told them I was expressing how I feel because, I wanted to be truthful and I wanted to be honest with everyone as to why I'm no longer performing with the band. And I felt that was important because, I don't want people to think that I just gave up on them or I gave up on the band, because that wasn't the case at all. I expressed to my bandmate that he, a few weeks ago, had told me I wouldn't make it on my own, and, that, if they think that I'm saying hurtful things, they need to look back at what they've been saying to me. I was told that I was spewing vitriol and that, I tarnished my reputation by posting what I did. I'm just trying to look for attention, and that it makes him sad that I am so desperate for attention. I was told that the reason they got rid of me was so I could find a better fitting band, and that they wanted to make sure me leaving wasn't harsh or cruel, and, just a lot of other things. I was told that I was hurting them, I was hurting the band, that I'm the bad guy in this situation. I was told all this stuff just because I had posted one thing within the 2 weeks that I was removed, which I think was a little extreme. I didn't expect it to upset them so much, and I didn't expect them to be so angry about people knowing. So the conversation went on, and, I had said my only post in 2 weeks, and it, hurt you guys that bad. I'm not trying to get attention. That's how I feel. And actually the fact is I'm quite relieved now. I felt like I was in a relationship with 4 bad ex-boyfriends, not gonna lie. And then that was it. So, finally, the last part of our aftermath, and this video is super long, but, I'm going just offhand. I did not pre-think about any of this stuff. So I'm being as real as I can, and I hope that you guys can really see that, and hopefully just, make your own opinions. And like I said, I don't wish any bad feelings towards my band or for me or for anyone, but I just wanted to give you my side of the story. So a few days ago, I was told that I am no longer invited to sing with them for the show that we said we were going to still do together. And my response was that, even though I was the one who booked this show and found it and did all the promoting, you're really not going to let me perform. And that was basically it. They just said, they already emailed the coordinator and this is a situation and all that. And I just find that to be... It's a little disappointing to me, I'm going to be honest, because the show is for the LGBTQ community, and I'm a very proud member, and it was a very good moment for me when we got this show. I was the one who had filled out the forms and sent in, all the information, and was the one that, was able to get this for us. And I was so happy about it, and, I was very excited to play. And it was just, it's a little hurtful that, even though I was the one that did a lot of this work to get us to this point and get the show for them, that I'm not invited to perform, you know. And so I said, so even though you wouldn't have gotten the show without me, you're going to play it without me. Now I know you're upset because I, after a whole 2 weeks, finally announced I was kicked out. But I truthfully didn't even say why. I didn't badmouth any of you on social media. Still promoted the show and got the show and have numerous people going, you know. So I just don't see how it's fair to cut me out when that's basically a gig that I had gotten for you guys. They said, you're not in blank. You are on thin ice and you blew it. That's all there is to it. But, you know, what I don't understand is, I said, I don't get why it was okay for you to tell people I got kicked out, but the moment I say something, it's too much. They were upset that I had posted it publicly on social media, and they said we didn't tell anyone except for close friends who we approached for advice. And then this is what I thought was interesting. So it says, we didn't even intend to announce you were kicked out at all. We were just going to say you were moving on and we wish you well. I thought that was interesting because the thing about that kind of comment is that it doesn't express exactly why I parted ways with Tantive, and to me, I feel like it's a letdown to those who follow me because I feel like they felt like I possibly left them behind. And, you know, I don't want people to feel that way because I had put my heart and soul into this band. And, you know, I didn't want people to think that I didn't care about it or I didn't care about them, because I did. You know, and to say I was just moving on, it makes it seem as if I left. And that's a big difference. Being thrown out and leaving are completely different things and lead people to think completely different things. So the only reason they would make that statement is to make it seem like I'm the one that abandoned them, and that's not the case, you know. And so I continued to ask, how am I the bad guy for telling people the truth? Please explain it to me. And, you know, of course I got a little smart mouth, you know, because I'm Tyler, like, of course I'm going to do that. I said, oh, you guys didn't want people to know you got rid of the singer. I see. It was supposed to seem like a mutual parting. And, of course, the bassist was like, this is unproductive. Good night. And I just said, be real, be honest. Tell me the honest reason why you guys are so upset that I let people know what happened. If they were happy with their decision, it shouldn't matter if people know why I actually am not performing with them. And I asked, was I supposed to lie? And they said it looks bad for everyone involved. They're saying, you know, that I was hard to work with, and maybe I was, because maybe I was just too driven. Maybe I pushed too hard, and I wanted to get things done. And within the months that I was in the band, we had already gotten multiple shows. I was only in the band for 1 week, and we played a show. Within 2 weeks, we played the Viper Room. Within a few months, we had played a couple other shows. And, you know, I wanted to keep that progress rolling, and I wanted to keep it moving fast, and some people can't handle that. You know, so I was also told that I made bad business decisions by expressing what I did on social media. All this stuff is based off of one post, and apparently it was so impactful, you know, that it has garnered very strong anger towards myself from them. But, you know, and I just, you know, I said it how it is, you know. The only reason they considered it a bad business decision was because it looks bad on a band to kick out the lead singer, because lead singers are harder to replace. And I honestly, I never want to be one of those. I'm dying. I never want to be one of those people that says, like, oh my gosh, I'm like the most important person, or I'm like this important part of the band and whatever, you know what I mean? But it's just a basic fact, like, you know, it's hard to replace a singer, and, you know, it looks bad on a lot of people to remove that aspect. So that's what it was, and I just said, you know what, I wish you guys the best of luck at your show, because, you know, honestly, I do wish them luck. It's gonna be hard, you know, because they don't have the singer that everyone knows, and that was it. And so, being where I am now, they posted on Facebook saying they're disappointed to announce that I have moved on, and that I am doing other things, and they are all bummed about it. And the case is that they still haven't told our fans exactly what happened, and the fact that they aren't sad about the decision, and they're just trying to save face. But we will let them figure it out, and I just wanted to share my side of the story, and I hope you guys check me out and listen to my music and keep up with me, because, you know, honestly, I am going to continue to do music. I'm going to continue to work with other artists, and hopefully I'm going to find another band that is willing to put in the work and have the same drive as me and want to go far, because that's where I want to go. And, you know, I hope you guys can tag along and check it out. So thank you for listening to this long video, about half an hour. I really appreciate you guys, and you mean the world to me. Bye. Mwah.